Both past and present Stoics are aware of this secret. Peace isn't reserved for saints. Anyone who wishes to train can do so. Will you accept that it's true that the secret to enduring peace lies within your own mind? When you accept anger, its hold on you lessens, and freedom becomes your daily companion. When you react, other people have power over you, but when you reply, you are in charge. When you act like most people, you give your power to other people. Reactions based on your feelings are often incorrect. This is why the Stoics believed that individuals should pause, reflect, and select their response to a situation. A person, like an experienced chess player, carefully considers each move. Consider new situations, so plan, evaluate, and act. Making choices that align with your values and goals can be challenging when people publicly disrespect you. If they get frustrated with you or lose their cool after a fight, that's their character, not yours. It's not your weakness, but theirs. As Marcus Aurelius once said, don't listen. Not even to yourself. Complaining is more painful than being alone with your thoughts. Instead of venting your anger, complaining can make you feel weak and powerless. Aurelius knew that being mean to yourself with your words was a negative thing. Strength depends as much on how others see you as on reality. You give the impression that you are strong and independent, which makes you feel more capable and powerful. This Stoic rule pertains to mental resistance. Refrain from complaining and focus your energy on something else. Weak men are the ones who burst into action to get past problems and win. Stoics believed that only fools think, so they refrained from displaying anger. Those fools think that anger is a sign of strength and power, but it's not. They are too weak to recognize that they are in control. The Stoics believed these people were insane due to their thoughts and feelings. Marcus Aurelius made a statement about animals acting on instinct rather than reason. The more a person is able to calm their mind, the stronger they are. Being calm helps a guy keep his mind in a logical state, which allows him control. The Stoic rule of the day is to act with strength in response to fleeting emotions. Men are strong, brave, and able to keep going even when they're angry. A lot of men today act tough, as if they're stronger than they really are. When people see someone who is weak, they often think that the Stoics were also weak. When Stoics were truly tough, they didn't need to fake it or hide their toughness out of fear of rejection. They didn't shut down their hearts because they thought feelings made them weak, and they didn't let their ego get in the way of being themselves. People often fear appearing weak, which can lead to rigidity and weakness. This stops people from learning and improving. Your way of thinking will stop you from seizing real times and real chances. So the Stoics would say, destroy your ego before it destroys you. Some of the greatest thinkers in history understood that our attention is drawn to people, ideas, or our efforts that always transform who we are, which is why you need to protect yourself. Care, letting only those who deserve it in with their full attention. Mind you, have you ever been in the middle of or near something? How did it make you feel? Was it disrespect? Did it make you mad? You doubt your own worth. What if I told you there's a way to deal with these kinds of things calmly? Marcus Aurelius is an example of a king who faced fear and grew stronger as a result. Someone once said that positive character and doing positive things for others are the fruits of this life. Being a good person means not only helping yourself, but also, and most importantly, helping other people. The Stoics thought that it was our job to be a force of good for other people. Engage your closest family members or a larger group of people. It's not about the individual. It's not the quantity of assistance provided that matters, but the quality of it. How many times have you allowed someone else to help? Someone else's careless words can create a storm in your chest and transform your tranquility into chaos. If it's going to cause chaos and make you feel bad, ask yourself if it's worth it. Giving up your inner peace for a random comment from a stranger or a friend's careless insult is what the Stoics say. You knew that nothing outside of you can break down the fortress of your mind unless you let it. This understanding can change everything about your life. Think about the quiet power of those who don't care when they're insulted, as if their minds aren't affected, held in place deep beneath changing sands and unaffected by winds on the surface. Will you learn to be like them in order to break free from the chains of response and regain control over your life? Both past and present Stoics exhort you to rise above the chaos and see insults as distant canyon echoes that fade into quiet if you take a moment to breathe. Remember that you are the gatekeeper to your own peace. You can start a path where anger loses its power. The grip is as tenuous as dust in the twilight. What if in the space you could find a moment of stillness between hearing a sharp remark and responding to it? This would let wisdom lead you. Stoics thought that we should own our responses instead of letting them happen on impulse. Take a moment to think about whether your anger will serve any beneficial cause. Picture your anger as there is a wild animal at the edge of your mind's forest that you can tame. You've observed that leaving it unattended won't cause any harm. Will you let your mind become a calm place where insults pass like soft breezes? The Stoics tell you to see every difficult person as a guide, which will break down the roots of your confidence. Modern technology gives you the opportunity to learn patience and become more resilient. Stoic thinkers reiterate these ancient concepts, asserting that maintaining composure is an art and a skill. Consider the inner alchemy that transforms potential pain into silence. Over time, getting upset at someone whose words you may not even understand helps you deal with things better. You can find a quiet place inside where the noise of the world doesn't affect you. There's no more reign of anger. Perhaps you have previously battled with anger and are now prepared to take action. Are you prepared to release it? The Stoics were adept at observing the human character highlights that anger often blinds us and narrows our heart. Modern Stoics remind us that our vision is clouding our deeper ideals and making us forget them, that a calm response or nothing at all can be more powerful. An outburst could explain why you should allow someone's careless words to become a key that lets you into a room full of pain if you know the keys to your inner self. In a holy space, no one can enter without permission, and anger loses its power, scary power. What will you do the next time a mean voice stings your ears? You just let the sound go away like it were an echo in the distance. They discovered that what we commonly refer to as insults are often merely noises that fade into the distance. Lip waves are nothing more than air, flowing through our lips until we give them weight. If you don't call these things injuries and instead see them as neutral events with no meaning, do they mean anything? You still have the power to hurt. Think of this as a feather. You can't scratch a stone, and a pointless taunt won't leave a mark on your well-trained mind either. Socrates would ask, why give your peace of mind to people who don't understand it and who can never make up for what you lost? Think about what they said in private if it was stolen. Defy your own health and observe how the balance always shifts in your favor. Will you choose to keep that peace safe and treasure it as a priceless piece of peace? No one can say bad things about you. As you learn this art, you start to stand tall. Despite a stranger's snide remarks, he stands taller and radiates a quiet pride. Should you interpret it as a personal attack or a passing phrase? Many Stoics believe that anger is learned and can be mastered. Stoic thinkers of today assert that one can learn to breathe with practice and patience. You could break the chain of anger before it gets stronger by taking a moment to think and pray. Turn a point of irritation into a point of understanding that sheds light on your... What if you responded to every attempt to anger you with calm? When someone is angry or rude, try to understand their true thoughts. Stoics may have said that anger is often just a cover for fear, insecurity, or a failure to understand. If you understand this, could you feel sympathy for them instead of being angry? I saw what they said as a sign of their pain instead of an insult. As you improve your ability to perceive, taunts lose their sting and are replaced by Stoics who teach that instead of holding the belief that we are all travelers who make mistakes and learn as we go, it is better and smarter to deal with anger with stillness instead of anger. Contemporary Stoic practitioners echo a kind of inner smile that won't go away. This is a reminder that every time we choose, we get taller and smarter. Will you use these chances to learn patience so you can stay calm during conflicts? Give up the urge to fight back and instead grow a garden of peace. Resilience. By doing so, you prevent anger from growing. Have you ever thought about that? Your days become lighter, sharper, and more free. The Stoics concur that those who cause you trouble could actually be your greatest allies in fostering enduring peace. If you approach problems and irritations correctly, you can transform them into steps towards self-mastery. Consider these times as opportunities to improve your patience, kindness, and restraint. Each time you resist the impulse to become angry, you strengthen the muscle of inner calm and train it to endure. Stoics were able to handle any storm because they knew that life isn't free. These are problems that not only enhance your intelligence, but also require you to handle them with grace and understanding. People who follow Stoic beliefs still find that seeing trouble as a teacher instead of an enemy helps them. To maintain your composure, consider the hurtful words of others as potential triggers. Instead of focusing on things that anger you, focus on your personal growth. When you look at things this way, the things that bother you become gifts. Nothing can take away your quiet strength when someone says something hurtful. Do you allow the silence to fester within you, or do you allow it to dissolve in the warmth of your heart? Stoics understood that anger was like a disease that you can't see. This is easily avoidable by shifting your own point of view. If you see those words as showing how the person speaking them feels, not how valuable you are, then the venom will not hurt you as much. Could you learn to laugh softly when someone tries to get you angry, not out of spite, but because you know what's going on? You don't need to be scared, just as people can learn to ignore fake alarms. You can learn to ignore insults that used to scare them, just like the Stoics did. They didn't say that this road was easy, they just said it was possible and worth pursuing indefinitely. Every time you hold back, you become more stable and sure of yourself, better prepared to deal with the uncertain nature of human interactions. Why let anyone else's words derail your hard-earned peace? If so, what are they? Stoics would say that nothing beneficial has ever come from being upset at someone else's careless words. Giving up your peace to someone else's open tongue will lead to beneficial things. The anger in their eyes was like a thief, taking away moments of happiness and clarity, emptiness in its wake. Could it be that by giving up the need to fight back, your power increases when you stay calm and sure no one can hurt you? It can break through the Stoics and tell us that real power doesn't roar. It stands. Modern Stoics express this in a way that is quiet and unaffected by the passing storms of human folly. When the world is full of stress and confusion, your tranquility can be a guiding light that shows you how to do things better. Exist. Will you choose to be that light that lights the way to freedom from the chains of anger and make others wonder how you stay so calm as you do it? How many times have you seen live proof that peace is stronger than any harsh word? Allow a single insult to sap your happiness, just as a single dark cloud could block out the whole sky of your happiness. The Stoics tell us that we can choose which clouds to see, linger, and which pass by unnoticed if you think someone else is trying to. The troublemakers are wisps of mist that your warm sun can clear. From a balanced point of view, what could bother you about thinking that, no matter what? Others say your inner temperature is still mild, temperate, nurturing, and scar-free. Sudden storms of anger would make the Stoics enjoy this inner weather. Mastery asserts that while we cannot alter the global weather, we can influence it. How we react. Modern Stoics say this trait can be. The mind is shaped through patient thought and regular practice. Will you learn to mold your inner landscape to stay constant? It provides a conducive environment for growth regardless of the external conditions. By doing this, you regain control over your emotions and never allow outside forces to control them again. Do you realize that the effort you put into maintaining peace reaps rewards thousands of times over? The Stoics thought that respect, composure, and understanding were more important than getting angry. Give you more lasting benefits than a short-lived anger release. If you value your health, then why give it up so easily? Keep your cool when dealing with strangers or friends who don't think before they speak. When you stay cool, you become a stable presence in a world that isn't stable, a source of peace. The Stoics would advise those still enmeshed in the frenzy of reaction that tranquility is a type of wealth that is difficult to get but worth a lot more valuable than things or praise. Modern calm voices agree, stressing that peace is a currency that never goes down in value, no matter how many insults are said. Throughout your life, will you dedicate your days to accumulating this inner wealth? It is so stable and peaceful that nothing can shake it. Such wealth guarantees that you feel free to be yourself, regardless of others' opinions. Noise. Have you ever thought that the person who is trying to upset you might be testing your strength without meaning to? The Stoics might say, if you want to become more stable, life's annoyances are like weights, and each one is an opportunity to build mental strength. Can you instead look at these interactions as chances to become more patient and understanding every time you come across them? When you avoid the urge to fight back, you become more like the Stoic ideal. Stoics teach us that nothing can harm us if we have unshakable self-mastery. In a state unless you allow it, so why give away your power for so little money today? Stoics say that self-control is the key to real freedom, which frees you from the will you perceive the control of other people's views as sharpening sparks during these times. Instead of taking hits that dull it, you sharpen your mental edge, turning possible pain into steady progress, making sure that no matter what happens, you stay firmly in. What would happen if someone tried to persuade you to do something you didn't want to? Who is angry yet maintains a calmness that leaves them wondering what's going on? The Stoics understood, in their way of thinking, that sudden calmness in the face. Couldn't you see that hostility can ease stress faster than any rage response? Your constant grace can turn anger into confusion, making the other person see their actions in a new way. By doing this, you set a good example and show that anger doesn't have to be. The Stoics thought that your measured reaction was the money of human exchange, could encourage others to think of their actions as a quiet lesson taught without words. Current adherence. I agree that the way you don't let things bother you is a subtle way of telling people that peace is possible even when things are bad. You transform into a quiet teacher who merely explains things to others. As you practice this art and refuse to join them in their anger, you become a light, taking care of your own peace and shining it on a world that needs it. See how every time you encounter someone rude, it can become a kindness. This moment of self-discovery reveals where you are on your path to inner peace. Stoics taught that life's problems are like screens that show you what you need to work on. If you accept these, your character will reflect back at you and show you where you need to improve. When you see moments as lessons, can you greet them with thanks instead of anger, knowing that they help? Become stronger. Each insult is an opportunity to learn how to be more patient. Stoics believe that by embracing every irritation and chance to go beyond the limits of your old responses, by constantly improving how you react, you build a life based on peace instead of stress. Instead of getting tense, current Stoic thinkers recommend writing these things down, taking notes on how you felt, how you reacted, and what you could do better next time. During your time together, will you treat these encounters as ways to build a fortress of tranquility instead of... There are moments when you feel anger without any apparent cause. Over time, you come to understand that no words could ever express your anger. When you're dealing with a mean person, cutting can shake the base you've built through reason and understanding. Comment. Do you take the time to really understand what's going on, or do you rush through it? Stoics understood that when they plunged headfirst into anger, clarity would often emerge. Have the patience to understand that a moment of thought can make the difference between discord and harmony. Develop this moment, this small space of silence, before you answer. It's a gift to yourself to be able to pick calm over chaos. Maintain your composure to rise above the chaos and remain rooted in what truly matters. The Stoics say no one can force you to fight unless you want to. Modern Stoics sit next to them and urge deep breathing, meditation, and these techniques will help you get stronger if you make a conscious effort to understand instead of react. Resolve to endure anger without being consumed by it. Stillness. You learn that peace is not just a dream, but a real thing. As you make each choice, what if you didn't take attacks personally? You are aware that these are ineffective attempts to inflict pain. Stoics thought that nothing or no one could hurt you if you chose not to feel hurt. Inherently bad unless we decide it is by giving it power over our emotions. If you won't consider these words to be threats, so can you simply ignore them? As harmless as leaves blowing down a quiet street over time, this is planned. Refusing to allow harm alters your life and shields you from emotional harm. The trouble that used to bother you, Stoics believed this skill practice and thought lead to a more peaceful life. Modern readings of the text clearly demonstrate that this is not censorship, but rather a healthy reframe is to choose not to invest in anger that doesn't lead anywhere. You practice this skill of changing possible threats into soft whispers that won't bother you. This way gives you a liberation that is unlike any other. It frees you from irritation and lets you do what you want. Do you notice how anger narrows your view and concentrates your mind completely on one thing? The Stoics discuss how the hurt you fear you'll experience prevents you from seeing the greater picture of your own growth and happiness. I would warn you that when you're angry, the world gets smaller than a single insult and you lose sight of the bigger picture. Not getting angry broadens your perspective. Are you ready to see beauty, chance, and purpose beyond the small scene? Regain perspective to understand how something that once caused you anger can now become insignificant. The Stoics teach us that as time passes, things become forgotten and irrelevant, that life is precious and short, so don't waste it on unhelpful emotions. Modern Stoic teachers emphasize this truth and encourage you to contemplate the essence of each moment. It's better to work on quiet understanding than on heated arguments if you choose to. Anger is something that diverts your focus from what's important, so it's important to let it go. Focus on making your life satisfying. By doing this, not only will you outperform others despite the provocations, you rise above them and enter a place where calm rules. Every breath, how would it feel to step back from the drama of human relationships and watch how others try to do things? To stir you up as if you were watching a faraway play whose ending wouldn't bother you. Stoics often pushed a kind of detachment so that people wouldn't get cold, or it doesn't matter what you think about comments, just stay calm. Play scenes unrelated to your identity still have power. Soon, you'll realize that these verbal insults are fleeting and not worth the trouble. The Stoics teach that the only path to inner freedom is to refrain from acting. Stoics today say that we should let outside events determine our mood. Practice this perspective daily until you can maintain your composure. Will adopting this vantage point become as easy as breathing for you, as chances to stay strong in your decision no matter what? With time, you walk through the world lightly, unaffected by the attempts of others to upset you. Have you ever smiled to yourself? When someone tries to attack you, even though they know they can't get through your shield. Peace. The Stoics would praise this kind of reaction because it shows you've taken back control. You have the ability to comprehend and respond appropriately, rather than succumbing to provocation. If one responds to an insult with cool neutrality, doesn't it lose its essence? You might discover that those who attempt to provoke you are weary of their actions. Your unshakable tranquility prevented attempts from failing. The Stoics teach that this is true. Modern practitioners concur that small things can't bother you if you have mastery over yourself. That as you get better at this skill, you won't be afraid of conflict because you know it can't shake at your core. If this is the case, any attempt to disturb your tranquility will only reveal the depth of your being. Your poise in this steady presence teaches you that anger is more than just it's avoidable and not needed at all. What if anger were like a locked door you could choose not to open? No matter how many times someone knocks, the Stoics knew that we are responsible for our reactions and no one can force us to respond in a certain way. Could you, Fury, keep that key and decide whether to open it or keep it? When you stand guard over your mental fortress, you keep negative thoughts from getting in. Someone else's words can ruin your harmony. The Stoics believed that this freedom is essential. Your birthright is yours if you only work on it by using your mind, practicing reason, and thinking about it. These days, Stoics stress that our thoughts get stronger with each you have chosen to stay cool. Will you lock the door against anger? When you protect the sacredness of your own inner peace, you stop being do you feel like a victim of other people's words but in charge of your own mental fate? There is a small difference between hiding your anger and not really feeling it when you swallow it. Stoics didn't just want to stop people from feeling sadness by never tasting it. We can prevent anger by altering our perspective. If you understand that insults say more about the speaker than the recipient, can you completely avoid the mental poison? This changes the mental landscape ensures that anger not only hides, but also disappears before it can cause any harm. The Stoics promise that a mind well trained in reason and understanding modern Stoic approaches that are based on kindness leave little room for irrational anger. I agree with the idea that emotional freedom comes easily when you believe that there is no slight from someone else can make you feel less valuable on the inside. Will you accept this? And release yourself completely from anger instead of just holding it back. This type of liberty provides a life where one disregards any attempts to harm them. You went unseen, leaving you calm and whole. How often do we forget who we are? We are not obligated to respond in the manner that others desire. Our feelings don't have to be. The Stoics argue that we shouldn't let our feelings control us like puppets on a string. If you don't want to follow our opinions, you can tell them to stop. If you think an insult is hurtful or important, can it still hurt you? You quickly learn that anger can't grow without your permission. Staying an inactive seed never sees the sun. The Stoics support this independence, telling us to modern Stoics echo the idea that we should enjoy the freedom to define our own emotional reality. By choosing your frame of reference, you have the power to shape a world where irritation has no place to live. Remember this freedom, and let every little thing fade into the background of your well-kept thought. When you keep this in mind, you step into a world where you are a creator rather than a puppet under the influence of others' words. Personal symphony when you think about how big and complicated life is. Are you ready to let a few mean words ruin your life's journey? Peace. The Stoics advise us to consider our reactions, keeping in mind the fleeting nature of life. Expressions of anger are a waste of time if you value the short time you have. Can you afford to lose them when they become upset over someone else's careless words? Put that energy into understanding, patience, or artistic expression. The Stoics make sure that every breath brings them closer to happiness. Believe that every choice you make to stay calm is a gift to yourself. Modern Stoics intensify their anger for causes that truly matter. Negativity takes away your life force, but calm adds to it. Putting your energy into growth instead of discord in this shift, you find that do you agree that peace is not only a beneficial idea but also a real way to live? See how the key to never becoming angry or irritated with others is not to control them, but to rule over them, yourself. The Stoics believe that you can't control what happens in the outside world. If you work on changing your inner world, the answer is inside you. As you work on this mastery, the chaos outside still has a claim on your peace. Let go of the idea that other people can control your feelings by taking firm steps. The Stoics were open to the idea that you are the only one who can shape your thoughts. Taking responsibility for it grants modern Stoics a great deal of freedom and independence. Celebrate this as a sign of strength that you have everything you need to stay cool and focused. Will you accept it? Acting as creator in your mind and not blaming events, you know that anger's chains were never meant to be broken because of the chaos in that choice. If the door is indeed locked and you leave unhindered, can you understand how this might not bother you? Anyone can acquire this skill through regular practice, as it's not a fixed state. The Stoics know that no one is born perfect and encourage people to think about and change their ways. Calm, but everyone can learn with gentle work if they trip and feel. When you get angry, can you use that as a lesson instead of a loss? These lessons add up and lead you to a state of calmness that becomes more natural, which is what the Stoics understood. Mastery is a journey, not a destination, where logic and understanding guide each step. Understanding modern Stoics tells you to keep a journal of your progress and enjoy, recognize your achievements, and regard your setbacks as essential for personal development. Embrace this process and comprehend the absence of perfection. By making a steady effort to do this, you can create a life where anger slowly fades, making room for understanding. That anger is not necessary leads to more satisfying experiences and more peace. Can you not feel free when you know you can take a different road, like when you find a hidden door in a place you know well? They would say that by opening this door, you leave yourself vulnerable. Freedom means entering a place where external problems cannot control you. Moods. If you leave the crowded rooms of habitual reaction behind and walk through this door, do you see a landscape of endless possibilities where every event that once anger now transforms into a quiet call to stay grounded and stand? The Stoics loved this liberation because it put them in a position to stand firm in their truth. Putting the keys of life back in your own hands. Modern Stoic agree with this. A change in how you see things can affect your relationships, your work, and your whole life. Will you walk through this door and embrace the peace that you'll get as soon as you decide to break the chains of anger? If your anger is like a fire that burns you up, it can be replaced by a gentle, powerful calm energy, and it makes it harder to see what happens when you deny it, feeds the Stoics. I would say that the light gets weaker, flickers, and finally goes out. Let your anger out in the dark to see the stars. Starve. Can you now find your way with kinder lights, more patience, and more kindness? This will help you have better relationships with other people. Soon, you'll see that these virtues shine brighter without anger. Take actions that will enhance your long-term health. The Stoic, we celebrated this newfound clarity because it brings knowledge free from emotional clouding. Today's Stoics all agree that refusing anger frees you to plan. Will you allow a path based on logical understanding and compassionate understanding? As the old fires die down to embers, they show the peaceful land below. In the stillness, you realize peace has always been possible. Think about that never being. Having someone bother you doesn't mean you don't care. It means you do. The Stoics never said you should worry enough about your peace to protect it wisely. You should avoid wasting your inner harmony on callousness or disinterest. Worthless fights. Can you still offer real help and support if you don't get angry? Advice, maybe even more successfully than when you're angry. You find that clarity of mind makes you more compassionate, which lets you deal with Stoics held that issues should be considered carefully rather than handled hastily. Above all, understanding that a calm mind can manage issues that fury exacerbates is crucial. Modern Stoics repeatedly emphasize that kindness stems from having a fair understanding. Will you choose this path? Peace can heal more wounds than anger ever could. Learning that care and serenity are not opposites, but work together to make harmonious life. When you practice this, you harness a gentle force that transforms both parties. Look back at your life and the people in it. How would you feel? Observe your surroundings and notice that no one truly disrupted your tranquility, despite numerous instances of provocation. Stoic thought that thinking about such a life would make him feel whole and stable. If you're proud, not in a vain way, but because you know you lived a wonderful life, you never again give up your peace of mind to someone else's careless words. You might find that your days go more smoothly. At night, you can sleep better. Over time, this peace becomes second nature. Stoics believed that a strong foundation should back all of your efforts. Modern Stoics advise people to imagine themselves as they want to be and act accordingly. Same thing saying your choices today affect the world tomorrow. Will you? Picture a future where anger doesn't control you and start living that future right now. Do you connect with an old lineage of wise people who are passing on their timeless lessons? Look at your daily life. Do you see that avoiding anger or irritation from others is not a neutral action? On the other hand, active liberation is a deliberate practice of emotional freedom. Sovereignty. The Stoics taught that self-determination is the ultimate form of freedom. More than any outside benefit, if you value freedom, can you afford to let it go? If you let your anger control you, it will not let outside forces affect you. The Stoics would say that you are free from other people's mood swings when you declare your freedom. Praise such bravery because it takes persistence, understanding, and readiness to break old habits. Modern Stoics say that this freedom is both subtle and deep. This will significantly enhance every aspect of your life. Will you accept this? You have freedom when you understand that no one can control your inner state unless you grant them permission to do so. Stand tall, unchained, and undeniably free as you follow the road of peace. Do you understand resilience? That anger used to seem inevitable, but now seems just make a decision. You don't have to make it yourself. The Stoics show that what once you can unlearn and replace thought patterns that don't feel normal with ones that do. You can choose logical calm over emotional chaos. Aren't you adding knowledge and grace to your life every day? The Stoics say that every time you control your anger, you improve your ability to think clearly and act with kindness. Enjoy this growth as proof of how far people can go and how the mind can change beyond simple instincts. Stoics say that you should think about your growth and how far you've come from old habits. Will you celebrate these changes, wins, no matter how small, and keep working on your ability to not let them bother you when you recognize as you grow, you affirm that you can go through limitless changes that shape you. Remembering that the Stoics were just regular people who could get angry makes it a much more interesting life than being angry. They made mistakes, but they kept trying to master their inner worlds. Do you feel encouraged that you can succeed too? They had to deal with insults, difficulties, and that were not clear, but their memory is not one of anger, but one of poise if they could. You can get through life's thorns without getting angry. Why can't you do the same thing with their knowledge as your guide? You learn from their old and new lessons. You stand on the shoulders of giants. They showed that peace is possible even when things are going badly. You can join this lineage and add your calm presence to their time-honored custom. Will current practitioners walk with you as you improve your craft, giving you advice and telling you to be patient? Embark on this journey with them, knowing you'll never be alone. With the armor of reason and understanding at your side, you walk firmly, safe from the arrows of insult. You should already know that how you treat other people shows what kind of person you are, not who they say they are, so you can change them. The Stoics stress that how you handle problems and the path you choose to take when things go wrong show what kind of person you are. Maintaining composure at all times requires patience. Can anyone make you give up these values? Find that they can't, because those principles are yours to uphold no matter what. Provocation. The Stoics believed that staying true to oneself meant living in line with one's values. Modern Stoics are calm and constantly stress that nothing and no one can change. Take away your core traits unless you choose to give them up, will you? Keep these beliefs safe and treat them like your most valuable possession. You understand that anger is not only something you can avoid, but it also doesn't correlate with anything. Imagine how much better it would be to know that no matter what anyone says or does, you keep on living your life. The Stoics provided us with peace of mind unaffected by their turmoil. This information shows that peace is not something other people give us. It's a state we create. If you take care of your inner peace, can others shake it off or do theirs? You'll see their words bounce as they try to show they're upset. Off the shield of your understanding. The Stoics contemplated the concept of falling away unused. Stoics today also see emotional strength as one of life's greatest successes. Celebrate it because you see it as a chance for a more peaceful and caring world. Will you stand in this peaceful, fortified location that remains unaffected by external influences? Commotion in that position, you say that the time of anger is over and that a steady you should be calm enough that nothing or no one can bother you. Emotional strength, according to Stoics, is a key to achieving a more peaceful and caring world. By standing firm in a peaceful, fortified state, unaffected by external influences, you can maintain calm and avoid being bothered by anything or anyone.